And what? Putting up with it?
Mr. Mayor, it's time.
I'd like to call a special meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Donald Hewish.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tempore Margaret Morales. Present. Councilmember Mitch Lindeman.
Here.
Councilmember Dania Acosta. Here. Councilmember Ray Shelton.
Present.
Councilmember Michael Valdenegro.
Present.
Councilmember Jose Grijalva.
Here.
City Manager Ana Urquijo.
Present.
City Attorney Dennis Fitzgibbons.
Special meeting to order. Roll call, please.
It's an echo.
City Attorney Dennis Fitzgibbons. City Treasurer Luis Pedrosa.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, the city attorney is connected.
Thank you. At least by name only. He's here. Item number 3, persons wishing to address the council in writing or verbally on any item not on the agenda. Sandra, do you have anybody for this meeting?
Mr. Mayor, I do not have any public item.
Thank you. Item number 4, discussion comments on the Caper public hearing. Item A, the purpose of the public hearing is to allow public participation in regard to the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, Caper. Ms. Gonzalez, would you like to walk us through this, please?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. As an entitlement community for Community Development Block Grant Funds, otherwise known as CDBG, an annual requirement is that we submit to HUD the Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report. And it tells HUD what we did with the funding as we had proposed during our action plan, and how much of the projects that we have proposed have been completed and how much of the funding has been expended. The public notice has to be published for a 15-day period, and we published it in the Sierra Vista Herald Review beginning on we published it, on August 17th, and the public review and comment period was from August 25th through September 10th, 2022. The public also has an opportunity to comment on the report, which was posted to our website and made available in print format in the housing office downstairs.
And did we have anybody respond formally?
We did not have any comments.
Thank you. We'll open it up to the public at this point. Yes, please. Please, 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 please.
Thank you, Diana Lamar. I just have a question.
Sure.
Um, it occurred to me, and I was wondering if something of this nature, and another example that I can think of right now would be the GSA, when the GSA meeting came up and all of that, and was published in the paper, but we don't have a paper here any longer. So would it be possible for items like that to be sent out through the alert system? Just like when there are meetings, council meetings and other meetings, you can sign up for alerts to get notified. It just occurred to me, I'm curious if maybe things like this could be sent out as an alert also, so that if you don't have to catch it in the Herald, or you don't have to walk into City Hall, you might have another way of receiving the information.
It's a good suggestion.
Just a thought.
I believe that's possible. Right? That's something that we can do. For those that have signed up.
That's exactly it. For those, you have to sign up for the alerts.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the public chooses what alerts they want to receive when they go on to our webpage. And this publication was sent out as an alert the minute it was posted to the website. If you are registered for those kinds of alerts. No, it's community news and events, I believe, is what it was posted under. So yes, if people are signed up to receive those alerts, then they
They would have
should
gotten
have received it.
Okay, thank you.
Also, are we putting it in the newspaper? I
We
mean,
do.
on the radio,
Yes, please.
are we?
Alfred, 1303 F Avenue. I just wanted to let you know that about 15 years ago, when I was up in the city of Phoenix, the city of Phoenix figured out how to take the CBD grants and work them into A&E services for arts, culture, and small businesses. So I administered about $100,000 worth of grants, CDB grants, to small businesses to help them through the development process. So I would help them through architecture, structural engineering, mechanical, electrical plumbing issues, and engineering. So I just wanted to let you know that there is a process if we needed to have help with the soft costs of renovating buildings. We can do it through the CBD grant process.
Do you know if they were specific to certain areas of the community that were considered to be blight or anything along that line?
I think there was some redevelopment areas, but it was so broad. I worked
was broad.
from downtown Phoenix all the way up to Sunny Slope, and that's
Okay.
about 3 or 4, 5, 10 miles. But we certainly did help small businesses through the malaise of the development process.
Thank you for that information.
Now, are we putting that on the radio? When we have things like this, meetings and so forth? I thought we were going to.
Mayor, Mr. Shelton, the agendas were not, what we talked about is doing talk of the towns after our meetings to discuss
Yeah,
items.
I just thought, yeah.
And we haven't started those yet.
Okay.
But we
I would
could-
think even before the meeting.
In the morning,
What, not stop shop. but-
trading post.
Trading.
Last call for comments. Hearing none, item number 4, adjournment. May I have a motion?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there a second? Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Mrs. Acosta to adjourn the meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by nay? Ayes have it. We stand adjourned at 5:39.
Mr. Mayor, it's time.
I'd like to call this special meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Donald Hewish,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tempore Margaret Morales. Councilmember Mitch Lindeman,
Here.
Councilmember Dania Acosta,
Present.
Councilmember Ray Shelton,
Present.
Councilmember Michael Valdenegro,
Present.
Councilmember Jose Grijalva,
Here.
City Manager Honor Kiko,
Present.
City Attorney Dennis Fitzgibbon,
Here.
City Treasurer Luis Pedrosa,
Present. Item number 3, persons wishing to address the council in writing or verbally on any item not on the agenda. Do we have anybody for this meeting?
I do not, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Item number 4, discussion comments on the public hearing. Item A, the purpose of the public hearing is to allow public participation in regards to the third reading of ordinance number 22-1150, amending zoning district map from single-family residential 32,000 SFR 32 to general commercial GC APN 410-10-008. Mr. Osborne, would you like to walk us through this, please?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Will Osborne, City Planner. This rezone proposal is for property located at the northwest corner of North Washington Avenue and State Highway 80. Approximately 3.72 acres. Property has been vacant for a great number of years. It's almost entirely surrounded by general commercial zoning and I think just a little bit of mobile home residential zoning. But staff recommended approval of the rezone request by Ms. Ruth Daly. And the Planning and Zoning Commission agreed with the recommendation and approved unanimously on May 17th at their public hearing. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Hearing none, we'll open it up to the public for any comment.
I've got just one question.
Yes, Mr. Shelton.
That's within our city boundary, right? Or is it not?
That's correct.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure, because the other side is the other side of the street. I don't think.
Actually, the south of Highway 80 is
Is ours.
unincorporated Cochise County, correct?
Okay. Thank you.
Last call for any public comment. Hearing none, item number 4, adjournment. May I have a motion?
I make a motion, we resign,
We what?
adjourn,
Thank you.
not resign, adjourn and resign.
Is there a second?
Second.
That's to the adjournment, not to the resignation.
Are you sure?
No, resign.
Motion made by Mr. Shelton, second by Mrs. Acosta to adjourn this special meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by nay? The ayes have it. We stand adjourned at 5:50.
Mayor, it's time.
I'd like to call this regular meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance and remain standing for our invocation by Pastor Luis Aguilar.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor Aguilar. Oramos. Gracias te damos, Padre, esta tarde por la bendición de estar aquí, Señor. En este momento oramos, Padre, por esta sesión especial, por este tiempo en el cual se reúnen, Padre, las autoridades de nuestra ciudad con el fin de tomar las mejores decisiones por el bien de esta comunidad que tú nos has dado, Señor. Pedimos por la paz de nuestra comunidad, pedimos por la bendición tuya a través de los ancianos, los adultos, los jóvenes y los niños, Padre, en todo lo que respecta, Padre, a las actividades de cada persona en esta ciudad, Señor. Levantamos también una oración especial por la familia Duarte, Señor, que han tenido la pérdida esta tarde del oficial José Duarte, Señor. Oramos por la paz de toda la familia, Señor, y oramos y pedimos por la paz de nuestra ciudad. En el nombre de Cristo Jesús, pedimos todo. Amén.
Muchas gracias, Pastor.
Gracias, man.
Would you please remain standing for a brief moment of silence? I learned that one of our former employees, Jose Duarte, passed away this morning. So we'd like to have a moment of silence on his behalf. Thank you very much. Y Pastor, muchas gracias por venir a bendecirnos, porque nos hace falta con esa gente aquí. Wow, muchas gracias. Roll call, please.
Mayor Donald Hewish,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tempore Margaret Morales. Councilmember Mitch Lindeman,
Here.
Councilmember Dania Acosta,
Present.
Councilmember Ray Shelton,
Present.
Councilmember Michael Valdenegro,
Present.
Councilmember Jose Grijalva,
Here.
City Manager Ana Urquijo,
Present.
City Attorney Dennis Fitzgibbons,
Present.
City Treasurer Luis Pedrosa,
Present. Thank you. Item number 5, persons wishing to address the council in writing or verbally on any item not on the agenda. Ms. Andrade,
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have 3.
thank you. Is he ready? Okay. We'll begin with Mr. Greg Watkins, who is joining us telephonically. Mr. Watkins? Yes, Mr. Watkins, please. The time is yours. Yes, no, maybe so.
Mr. Watkins,
Okay, now you can hear. Sorry, it just wouldn't unmute for some reason. I'm very pleased to make this presentation. We are very interested in the development of the area around the Douglas Airport. We originally had done a study to do the same industrial expansion around the Cochise Airport, but found them somewhat unresponsive. And we were asked to join the RFP, and we think the Douglas Airport has a great opportunity to build hangars, build technical schools for both pilots and mechanical training for the aircraft, as well as English as a second language, all kinds of community college classes that we think fit right there on the site. We planned one side of it to have an aerospace industrial cluster, along with a grouping of small industrial buildings for local businesses like plumbers and landscapers that have equipment that needs to be locked up, growing up into hundreds of thousands of square feet of intermodal cross-dock shipping. We also have a component we've planned for a border security, homeland security drone port for attracting that specialty and getting some stability from a government contract as well. And we think that we can attract and have already attracted several businesses that we had previously looked at the Cochise Airport site, including 2 training schools and a group that makes a molecular binder for paving streets, and they're approved in 19 states in Mexico. So they export this, make it in the United States and export it into Mexico. And we think there's aerospace industry is growing, as well as there are absolutely no hangars in California, Arizona, or Mexico that are available. So I've learned that hangars don't need to be near the rich or corporate owners. They need to be near where the pilot lives. And pilots don't necessarily want to live in the middle of somewhere very expensive. So we think that hangars, private hangars, would work very well there. Our proposal is to have a very nominal lease purchase agreement with an option to buy the site after 5 years for $750,000, and to share any lease income with the city, 8% of the gross from any and all income that we get from the lease of the site. I'm available for any questions if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Watkins. We don't have any questions at this particular time, but we appreciate your speaking to the matter. It's good to hear your voice again.
Likewise. Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Our next request is from Mr. Steve Helfrich. Mr. Helfrich, please.
Steve Helfrich, 1303 F Avenue. As mayor, since you said you like.
Yes, I do. It's not a true government meeting unless you leave with more paperwork than when you come.
That's it. You gotta build your file. That's right. The first one is the Good Fridays. We're having the food truck Friday, Friday nights. And we expect everybody out there to support the food truck and listen to the mariachis and the entertainment there, and it's going to be between 9th Street and 11th Street on G Avenue. And so if you don't want to come, give the flyer to somebody else. Okay. The second one's a little bit more serious. It's my letter that I wrote to the GSA requesting a study for the Phelps Dodge smelter site. And the second page is a development plan that explains my reasoning. I was hoping that we, as a community, could start to discuss this issue and possibly have a recommendation for the GSA before the draft study, the environmental impact study, is released.
Thank you, Mr. Helfrich. Just so you know, this Friday, I'm officially going to become old. My oldest turns 40. So it's, I don't know if I'll be able to get out of bed that day, because I'm going to feel very, very old. Now, when my baby turns 40, then forget it. For sure, I'm not getting out of bed that day. Thank you. Our next request to speak to us is Mr. James Whitman. Ms. Whitman, you're up. Please.
Mayor, council members, city officials, and the citizens of Douglas. I am James Whitman of JW Resources Company, and this is Pat Palmer of Coldwell Realty. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to submit a proposal for certain properties at the Douglas International Airport. We are excited for our company to be considered as a candidate to work with the city of Douglas for the improvement of the airport property. Our proposal to the city of Douglas is for our company to make a considerable investment in the property. This would include developments in luxury hangar homes, luxury homes, and tract homes, as well as upscale rental housing. In conjunction with the city of Douglas, we're also considering investing in solar energy, light manufacturing, storage facilities, and possibly a microchip manufacturing factory, as well as other considerations. Should the city of Douglas decide to accept our proposal, we look forward to a successful, long-term relationship with the city to enhance the property and help promote the city of Douglas. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. Appreciate that. Thank you for coming also, Pat, being with us this evening. Item number 6, presentation of awards. I'd like to recognize two of our council members who recently received a very prestigious award at our League of Cities and Towns annual conference here a couple of weeks ago. Vice Mayor Margaret Morales and Councilmember Mitch Lindeman were given certificates and, well, actually plaques that commemorate their 12 years of service to the city of Douglas on the city council. And I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of the council and the citizens of Douglas to thank them for their years of dedication and service to the community and present them with these certificate plaques. And again, thank them so much for their service. Vice Mayor Morales and Councilman Mitch Lindeman. Welcome down, if you don't mind.
Slow Joe. One, two, three.
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Lindeman,
if I may say a few quick words.
please.
I just wanted to thank my constituents and supporters for having faith in me to be their public servant for these years. And I've always tried to do my best. at each issue that comes up. But I do want to mention that if you count my 11 years as the on the Planning and Zoning Commission, that's 23 years that I've served the city of Douglas.
True,
Thank you.
true. Thank you, Mr. Lindeman. Ms. Morales?
Thank my constituents. It's been an amazing 12 years serving on the council. I've really enjoyed my time. I've worked many years with Mr. Shelton, Mr. Lindeman. And, the mayor, it's been an honor. And I hope to continue to serve out more years if the constituents will have me. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'll briefly get on my soapbox. The recent election in trying to change the charter to remove term limits. We're term limited now to serve 2 consecutive terms. And so these fine people have served 2, sat out, and then came back. And I really admire them for that. My belief is that if somebody wants to serve, they should be allowed to serve as long as they want to, as long as the people want them to be able to do that. So off the soapbox for right now. I'll probably get back on later on during the agenda. But we'll move on to item number 7, reading of a proclamation for Hispanic Heritage Month. Whereas more than a century, the city of Douglas has embraced the diverse culture interwoven with the Mexican culture. And whereas the Hispanic community is a dynamic, valued part of our city and a vital contributor to our economy with the entrepreneurial spirit, a strong work ethic, and an unwavering belief in the American dream. And whereas Hispanic culture shapes the city of Douglas community and influences our art, literature, music, food, faith, family values, thereby enriching our people. And whereas the purpose of Hispanic Heritage Month is to recognize the countless contributions of the people of Hispanic heritage to the United States of America. Many people of Hispanic heritage serve as civic leaders, politicians, educators, innovators, healthcare professionals, first responders, scientists, athletes, artists, religious leaders, and more. And whereas Hispanic heritage is interwoven into the city of Douglas and reflects a beautiful array of a distinct culture in our community. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Donald C. Huish, Mayor, and on behalf of the city of Douglas, Arizona, do hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th as Hispanic Heritage Month, Mes de la Herencia Hispana, and call upon the citizens of Douglas to celebrate the talents, culture, and spirit of Hispanic heritage. In witness whereof I have hereto unto set my hand and cause the seal of the city of Douglas to be affixed this 9th day of September, 2022. Thank you for indulging me in this honor of Hispanic Heritage Month. Item number 8, discussion decision on approval of consent agenda items. Item A, expenditures for the month of August 2022 totaling $1,817,319.74. Item B, meeting minutes for June 22nd and July 13, 2022. Item C, Finance Committee resignation of Ms. Anel Lopez and appointment of Ms. Elisa Watson. Industrial Development Authority resignation of Ms. Luana Diffie and appointment of Ms. Vicky Merritt effective September 14, 2022. D, bid award to KP Ventures for slip lining retrofit for well number 14. And I'd like to remove item E from the consent agenda to be considered separately. So may I have a motion for consent agenda items A through D?
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Lindeman,
I would like to remove item D for further discussion.
we can do that. Does anybody have a problem with that? I don't, so we'll remove item D also. So may I have a motion for consent agenda items A through C? Yes, Ms. Morales.
Mayor and council to consent agenda items 8A to 8C.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morales, second by Mr. Valdenegro to approve consent agenda items A through C. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Montenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. Item eight D, bid award to KP Ventures for slip lining retrofit for well number 14. May I have a motion? Yes, Ms. Morales.
I move that we approve item eight, the bid award to KP Ventures, for mining retrofit for well 14.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Morales, second by Mr. Shelton to approve the bid award to KP Ventures for slip lining retrofit for well number 14. Mr. Lindemann, did you have any questions or comments on this item?
First of all, I would like to ask Mr. Pedrosa to briefly summarize this item.
Yes. Mr. Pedrosa, is that okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Good evening. As you know, the city is rehabbing well 14. It's been active for a greater part of around 12 years. Mayor and council approved the rehabilitation through a contract with Lane Christensen. Through their rehab process, they encountered an intrusion in the existing well casing, which gravel pack was seeping into the actual well. And at that point, we stopped work and looked at two options. Really, we had the option of slip lining the well, putting in a new casing over the existing casing, or we say, let's just dig a new well. So we looked at the different cost alternative, and really digging a new well is 3 times more expensive than slip lining the well. So we asked our engineers to research the alternative of slip lining the well, how effective, the risks involved. Obviously, you know, it does carry some risk in the fact that you're now having a smaller diameter of well because you basically inserted a new casing over the existing one. Potential of less production on the well site. Certainly, there's things that could potentially go wrong once you start bringing that casing down 500 feet into the ground. So there's certainly risk involved there. But certainly this is a job that's been done before. Contractor, that's what we seek, the expert contractors that are capable and experienced in slip lining these wells. Our engineers put together the RFP. They vetted the contractors and recommended basically KP Ventures as they were the most responsive bidder out of the 2 that were received. And I'm sorry, in your package, there is a typo in when we describe the 2 options. It says staff recommending option 1. It should be staff is recommending option 2, which is slip lining the well, which is awarding the contract to KP Ventures to slip line the well. So with that, the cost involved is $231,000, 318 and 30 cents. The city is seeking grant funding from USDA Rural Development that could potentially fund up to 50% of this cost, which includes the entire rehabilitation of well 14. Well 14 is a site that we are very mindful that there's good water source there because it sits right on top of Whitewater Draw. It's actually located right on top of Whitewater Draw. Just north of the slag piles there. We know that we are most likely going to need treatment for that well. So we're also looking at that possibility, but that's comes after we retrofit this well.
Thank you, Mr. Pedrosa. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, if I may,
Yes, please, Mr. Learman.
I was just wondering, you mentioned it was 500 feet. Is there any need to go deeper? Are we going to be able to go deeper if the need arises?
Mr. Lindemann, Mr. Mayor, not according to our engineers. At this time, the well has a static water level at about 237 feet. As I mentioned, it's a good water source there. 500 feet is something that our engineers mentioned it was adequate at this time. And again, it's just where that well sits. It's a good water source.
Are all of our other wells about that deep too?
Most of them are our two newest wells. We've had to go deeper. Our two newest wells are about 700, 800 feet. That's well 16 and 17. Our new well that we're planning to drill, we're probably gonna go 800 feet. That's in town, the site that we'll develop there. But certainly this well makes a lot of sense to keep it there at 500.
Okay, and the other question that comes to mind is if it's north of the slag pile, have we ever, or I think we did at one time had a problem with the arsenic that's naturally occurring. Is that going to add to any problems, or is that still mitigated?
That's correct. Mr. Mayor, member, council member Lindeman, the arsenic levels there, forced that well to be shut down because the restrictions from ADQ were, at that time, grew a little bit more strict. So we just were at the cusp of that. So we're expecting to treat it for arsenic.
Okay.
So we're gonna install treatment facilities there that will clean that, but those results will not be known until they go through the rehabilitation process and they test the water. But we are with the plan and mindset to install treatment facilities there.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
You have a cost on the treatment for the water, Mr. Littleson?
Yes, Mr. Valdenegro, Mayor, it depends on the water production capabilities. But it ranges between 600 to about $800,000 is what we're looking for a treatment facility there.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Thank you. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindeman,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales. Yes. Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. Item number 8E, contract award to Native Network, Inc. for broadband network and telecommunications plan. Mrs. Acosta?
Mayor?
Oh, Mr. Lindeman?
Yeah, I would like
sorry.
to, that's all right. I would like to table this item.
Is there a second? Motion by Mr. Lindeman, second by Mrs. Morales to table. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindeman,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales. Yes. Mr. Mayor,
Yes, and that'll be tabled until the next possible meeting. Item number 9. Discussion decision on approvals, item A. Third reading of ordinance number 2222-11.
Mr. Mayor,
Please.
if I may, please interrupt me for a second. We do have our new appointee, Ms. Vicky Meredith, who would like.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
I'm gonna make it official too. This way it proves that you can't get away with Item number 9A, discussion decision on approval of third reading of ordinance number 22-150. An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona. Rezoning one parcel of land within the southeast quarter of the northeast quarter, section 6, township 24 south, range 28 east, located at the northwest corner of the intersection of North Washington Avenue and East Highway 80. Parcel number 410-10008, located in Douglas, Arizona, from single-family residential 3200 SFR 32 to general commercial GC, and amending the official zoning district map established by ordinance 691 and amended by ordinance 858 and ordinance 22-1145, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Mr. Kiko?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This item returns after 2 readings already by mayor and council. Excuse me, and as a recap, the P and Z Commission met May 17th to make this recommendation and approve the proposed rezoning of this 3.7 acre parcel to go from single family residential to general commercial. So that aligns with the other properties in that area along Highway 80. And this does also correlate with the public hearing just held prior to this public meeting. And we have staff available if there are any further questions on the actual parcel.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Shelton.
I move the mayor and council approve third reading of ordinance number 22-1150 by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Mrs. Acosta to approve the third reading of ordinance number 22-1150 by number and title only. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, that way we don't have to leave. You guys didn't pick up on it. My mistake a minute ago.
Any other questions or comments? And we also, by way of public that wasn't here earlier, we had a public hearing regarding this rezoning, and there was no comments at that time either. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes,
Councilmember Montenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales. Yes. Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries.
in honor of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, rezoning one parcel of land within the southeast one quarter of the northeast 1/4, section 6, township 24 south, range 28 east, located at the northwest corner of the intersection of North Washington Avenue and East Highway 80, with parcel number 410-1008, located in Douglas, Arizona, from single family residential 32,000 square feet SFR 32 to general commercial GC, and amending the official zoning district map established by ordinance 691 and amended by ordinance 858 and ordinance 22-1145. Establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. Item number 9B, discussion decision on approval of resolution number 22-1516. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, amending resolution number 22-1503, naming Veterans Park Playground as Korean War Hero Playground in honor of American service members born in Douglas, Arizona, killed during the Korean War and were or still are missing in action. Mr. Kiko, please.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. In June, Mayor and Council approved Resolution 22-1503, naming this park after a U.S. Army Sergeant Frank G. Behar and the missing 3, because after finding of the remains of Sergeant Behar after 70 years of being missing in action, there were still 3 from the same also Army soldiers from the same era and that were still missing, and families stepped forward to request that they also be considered in the naming of the playground. And so at that meeting in April, the decision had been made to name the playground after Sergeant Behar and the missing three in honor of those that were still to return home. Since then, and very recently, we were pleased to hear that remains of one of those missing three was also returned to family in the Tucson area and laid to rest. So we're hopeful that two more will eventually make their way home. And we are making a recommendation today to change the naming of the playground, which is set to be finalized with a ceremony on Veterans Day after the approval here to be named instead a Korean War Heroes playground, honoring those that are still missing in action and giving making note on the monument or plaque that we honor them with on Veterans Day, those that perished and returned home, and the two that perished and are still missing in action. And in the event that they return home, we will modify that. So we're setting it up in a way that how we honor them will be, we will have the ability to make those changes on that portion of our monument or sign. So that that is the item. And again, honoring Korean War Heroes and naming it Korean War Hero Playground.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Mayor,
Yes.
I move that the mayor and council approve resolution number 22-1516.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Baldanegro, second by Mrs. Acosta to approve resolution number 1516 for the renaming of the playground at Veterans Memorial Park. Any discussion?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Lindeman.
I would also want to think about if it's appropriate or even possible to add Sergeant Behar's name to our memorial at the corner of the highway and the visitor center there. That commemorates Douglas veterans. So I don't know if we can, yeah, if it's even possible to do that. But I'd like to look into it.
Mayor, Councilmember Lindeman, we can certainly look into that. The criteria is set for that, and we do have oversight of the criteria. And I think one of the criteria is to have the U.S. Army in this case to have designated or recorded the deceased soldier as killed in action. So we will check that for both and look through all the other criteria, and I can report back.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lindeman. Yes, Ms. Morales.
Will we still have a plaque there with the names of the missing?
Mayor, Councilmember, or Mayor Pro Tem Morales, yes, we plan to have all the names, all four names recognized and honoring those returning and those still missing in action.
Thank you, Ms. Morales. Anyone else? Yes,
the
Mr.
one-
Shelton.
The one they found in Tucson, is he from Douglas?
That's my understanding, yes, Mr. Shelton, Mayor. And that was in the last month, and it was Private Felix M. Yanes.
You know, this brings me back as young, and my brother was coming back from Korea. And going down to the bus and meeting him was, you know, when you're 3 or 4 years old, that's one of the things I remember. So that's me.
Thank you for sharing that, Mr. Shelton. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindeman,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Montenegro.
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 9C, discussion decision on approval of resolution number 22-1517. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, approving and authorizing the submission to HUD of the City of Douglas Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, CAPER, for fiscal year 2021-2022. Mr. Kehoe?
Yes, Mayor, Ms. Gonzalez will present this item. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Prior to the meeting tonight, we did hold the public hearing to allow the public one last opportunity to comment on our draft Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report, known as the CAPER. This report is required by HUD after every funding cycle so that we can let them know where we are in terms of progress with our proposed projects and spending. We are recommending approval of this for submission to HUD.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Lindeman.
I move that the mayor and council approve resolution number 22-1517.
Is there a second? Second. Motion by Mr. Lindeman, second by Mr. Baldanegro to approve resolution number 22-1517. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Grijalva,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. Item number 9D, discussion decision on approval of resolution number 22-1518. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the submission of a grant application to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, for the Housing Choice Voucher Family Self-Sufficiency FSS program. Mr. Kehoe?
Yes, Mayor, members of the council, Ms. Gonzalez will also present this item. And will align it also with discussion for the next item coming up.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez.
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The City of Douglas Housing Authority has been administering the Family Self-Sufficiency Program, also known as the FSS program, since 2009. The purpose of the program is to enroll families who are receiving Section 8 assistance into a contract to provide needed resources to remove any barriers or obstacles that they may have to becoming self-sufficient. The grant application is due to HUD on October 3rd. And so we would like to apply for continued funding for next calendar year.
Thank you. May I have a motion? Yes, Ms. Morales. Is there a second? Motion by Ms. Morales, second by Mrs. Acosta to approve resolution number 22-1518. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. Item number 90, discussion decision on approval of resolution number 22-1519. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the intergovernmental agreement IGA between the Housing Authority of Cochise County and the city of Douglas regarding the transfer of the Housing Authority Voucher Program and authorizing the city manager to execute all necessary documents under the terms of the agreement. Mr. Kehoe?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Several months ago, we initiated this concept before you in a presentation saying that in pursuit of efficiencies, we seem to have an opportunity to transfer the housing authority function to Cochise County. So we have been diligently working through this. We think we have that opportunity. Ms. Gonzalez will present what that overall plan looks like, and then I'll comment at the end again.
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The City of Douglas has been operating a standalone housing authority for several decades. We are the only city in all of Cochise County who has our own housing authority. And it has been performing very well. The last few years, we have seen a decline in funding from HUD. And so we are no longer able to be self-sustaining. The program was self-sustaining for many years. And due to the loss of multifamily projects that we were administering through sale to private parties, that revenue source was lost. And so we have had to request a subsidy from the general fund during the last fiscal year. And we have been operating using our reserves for about 3 or 4 years now. And due to staff attrition through promotion and or retirement fairly soon of all 3 full-time staff of the department, it makes sense and to transfer our program to the county. They have the capability. They are self-sustaining and they are good in a good financial position to absorb our program into theirs. They are already administering both programs, which is the Housing Choice Voucher Program and the Family Self-Sufficiency Program at the county level. And this also provides an opportunity. Douglas has an allocation of 193 vouchers. And if we combine that with the county's allocated 600 and some odd vouchers, there might be more families assisted in our area than are currently being assisted. It's all obviously on a waiting list, first come, first served basis, but we do have the potential to assist more local families through a transfer.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Costa.
I move that mayor and council approve resolution number 22-1519.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Costa, second by Mr. Lindeman to approve resolution number 122-1519. Any discussion or comments?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Lindeman.
Ms. Gonzalez, there will be a local office to serve the needs of our local people.
Cochise County is committed to providing service on limited hours. They do have facilities over at the government center, and so they do have the commitment to provide at least 1 or 2 days a week for the local clientele to not have to travel to their offices in Bisbee and be able to conduct in-person service.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lindeman.
Mayor,
Yes, Mrs. Costa.
in case the hours are limited to where families can't make it to the county building here. I don't know if we have, I know we have our transportation. Do they stop in Bisbee at the government center down there in case we have families that need to go and apply in Bisbee?
Mayor, Councilmember, I'm sorry, Acosta. I'm trying to remember the Cochise Connection stops, but that's a very good question. I don't know if there's an exact stop because I don't know exactly where the housing services are run from currently, whether it's at, I don't think they're at Quality Hill anymore, but they're probably on Malady Lane.
I can answer that,
okay.
Mrs. Urquijo. The transit route currently does not stop at the county facilities on Malady Lane. But if there is enough need, we can certainly try to look at our routes and incorporate that.
And I can add, Councilmember Acosta, is the way we have a partnership with Bisbee Bus and the Cochise Connection, that if they do a transfer, it's a free transfer to the Bisbee Bus. So we connect with them at the Lyric stop, and they can certainly take the Bisbee Bus and connect to Melody Lane from that point. And I believe the Bisbee Bus does go out there. So with our system, they can get a free transfer onto Bisbee Bus and head out there.
And Councilmember Acosta, I think we also, we have expressed to Cochise County that a virtual option may be wise to consider as well. We're making these recommendations and then to have scheduled appointments, so that those limited hours are more effectively used. So this would add to that hopeful efficiency for that. So
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
That makes sense. Mr. Shelton.
One question, what do you think about this idea? I know, how many years have you been working with housing?
Mr. Shelton, Mr. Mayor,
What puts you on the spot? Yeah.
I have been in the housing department since 2009. And so this is bittersweet for me, but everything aligned so that this was possible. We've been discussing the possibility of doing this over several budget seasons, years here at the city. And for whatever reason, things never aligned. And right now, because as I mentioned, due to staff attrition through promotion and retirement, we have the opportunity, the perfect opportunity to do this seamlessly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Yes, please, Mr. Valdenegro.
This doesn't pertain to, I don't know if it does or not, but since we do have a women's shelter, how come we don't have a men's shelter or something for the homeless in Douglas?
Yeah, and I don't know that that's related to this item
But
specifically.
if it comes from the federal government granting grant funds and all that, how come we can't incorporate some of the money to establish something for the homeless?
Yeah, the federal government does provide funding to our continuums of care. And the continuum of care does have regional services that do serve the Douglas area. So while we don't have a shelter facility per se, they do offer services to any homeless in our area who are looking to find shelter if they desire to find shelter.
Where's this center?
It is located in Sierra Vista. It's called the Good Neighbor Alliance. And there's also a homeless shelter in Bisbee that will house homeless from all of Southern Arizona, our area included, if people choose to seek out that assistance.
So they use their transportation, or Cochise Connection in order to get there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or discussion?
Mayor, if I may, one
Please.
more point to clarify, this is an IGA that initiates the process with Cochise County. The County Board of Supervisors heard a presentation from Ms. Gonzalez yesterday also to prepare them. But they vote on this IGA on the 27th. And then Ms. Gonzalez submits to HUD October 1. This is an IGA to allow both the city of Douglas and Cochise County to work toward the transition with HUD for a hopeful transition at the end of the year. But what will still need to come back and return to you for consideration is an ordinance for that final action.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales. Yes. Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 9F, this discussion decision on approval of resolution number 22-1520. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the city of Douglas to accept grant funding and enter into agreement with the state of Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety for reimbursable grant in the amount of $25,000 for occupant protection enforcement overtime.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, please, Mrs. Acosta.
I'd like to recuse myself at this moment. I know our legal counsel has deemed that this is not a conflict of interest. But since Sergeant Acosta and myself are married, I don't want it to appear to be improper.
Thank you. And that's for items F, G,
F, G,
H,
H, and
and I.
correct.
Okay, you can stay seated right there. Just ask you not to participate in the discussion or voting. At 6:54. Thank you very much. Mr. Kehoe.
Thank you. Mayor, members of the council, the next four items. I'd like to give credit to Sergeant David Acosta, who has prepared proposals for various grants and is available to quickly summarize or answer questions for any of these items. this specific item is resolution 22-1520. So this is for overtime on occupant protection enforcement. And officers will participate in enforcement details during holidays and other planned dates. So he's provided all of that information and is happy to answer or address any questions.
Thank you. May I have a motion? Yes, Ms. Morales.
Number 21-1520.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morales, second by Mr. Baldanegro to approve resolution number 22-1520. Any questions for Sergeant Acosta?
Thank you. For doing what you do. Really mean that.
Thank you, Mr. Baldanegro. Who expresses the sentiment. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro.
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. Item number 9G, discussion decision on approval of resolution number 22-1521. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the city of Douglas to accept grant funding and enter into an agreement with the state of Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety for a reimbursable grant in the amount of $22,000 for DUI/impaired enforcement overtime. Sergeant Acosta specifically is for what type of event?
This is a year-round event.
Year-round.
They give us enough funding usually to run DUI details on basically all established holidays and then some of our local holidays, like Douglas Days or, September 16th, that kind of those type of dates. And then, we'll also run details of, the beginning of school, just dates that we believe that there might be a higher consumption of alcohol. The 22,000 usually allows us to run details almost not only those dates, Christmas, New Year's, and so forth, but most at least most weekends we can can assist regular patrol with providing 1 or 2 officers specifically to look for impaired enforcement.
Excellent, thank you. May I have a motion?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Baldanegro.
I move the mayor and council approve resolution number 22-1521.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Baldanegro, second by Mr. Shelton to approve resolution number 22-1521. Any questions, comments?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Lindemann.
Sergeant, I just was wondering, does this grant cover a specific number of officers or just the date that they're out?
This grant people can be applied to any officer within the Douglas Police Department. But I put together enforcement plans, which usually allows for 2 or 3 officers to work certain dates, and then that's on a sign-up basis. So any officer that's interested can sign up at their own free will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. Item number 9H, discussion decision on approval of resolution number 22-1522. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the city of Douglas to accept grant funding and enter into an agreement with the state of Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety for a reimbursable grant in the amount of $7,427 for pedestrian and bicycle safety enforcement and related materials and supplies, i.e. bike helmets. May I have a motion? Yes, Ms. Morales.
Mayor, council approve resolution number 22-1522.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morales, second by Mr. Baldanegro to approve resolution number 22-1522. Any questions for Sergeant Acosta? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenego.
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales. Yes. Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. Item number 9I, discuss and decision on approval of resolution number 22-1523. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the city of Douglas to accept grant funding and enter into the agreement with the state of Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety for a reimbursable grant in the amount of $10,000 for the department's selective traffic enforcement program, STEP, overtime. That term always bothers me, selective. Because I think you guys enforce the law evenly over all times, but that's what it's called. That's what it's called. May I have a motion?
Mayor,
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Lindeman.
I move that the mayor and council approve resolution number 22-1523.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lindeman, second by Mr. Grijalva to approve resolution number 22-1523. Questions for Sergeant Acosta?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Lindeman.
I just wanted to thank you again for putting all these together on our behalf. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lindeman. Anyone else? Mr. Shelton? Did you have something? I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Grijalva.
again, just like Mr. Lindeman, I want to thank you for thinking about our community and also keeping us safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Any other comments or discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenego.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
yes.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales. Yes. Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. And we welcome back Mrs. Acosta at 7:01.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Item number 9J. Discussion decision on approval of resolution number 22-1524. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the acceptance of Arizona Community Foundation of Cochise grant in the amount of $2,500 to initiate a mobile recreation program. Mr. Kiko?
Yes, Mayor, members of the council, Ms. Laritza Villalobos will present.
Thank you. Ms. Villalobos.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The city of Douglas applied to the Arizona Community Foundation of Cochise for a funding request to purchase gaming inventory to initiate a mobile recreation program. The program would include giant lawn games as well as STEM activity supplies. We do recommend the acceptance of this grant from the Arizona Community Foundation of Cochise in the amount of $2,500.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Shelton?
I move the mayor and council approve resolution number 22-1524.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Mrs. Acosta to approve resolution number 22-1524. Any questions or discussion?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Lindeman.
I think this is a great idea. And I just wanted to bring up, when you have giant lawn games, does that include giant chess pieces?
We do have plans. Oh, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. We do have plans to include a giant chess game. It would just be up to our Parks and Rec director to decide what she wants to include.
Because I go to conferences quite often over the years. And at the Biltmore Resort in Phoenix, they have a giant chessboard that you can come on, and I always thought that was neat and unique. And so I'm glad that we can have something like that down here. Thank you.
Sounds like fun. Thank you, Mr. Lindeman. Anybody else? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenego.
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales. Yes. Mr. Mayor,
Yes. Motion carries. Item number 10, discussion decision on call for and conduct an executive session for the following items. And I'd like to include the addendum that was sent out on September 13th also in that. Item number 8, under the authority of ARS 38-431.03 subsection A3, 4, and 7, to consider its position, instruct its representative, and obtain legal advice regarding updates related to the potential sale of Douglas Municipal Airport with parcel number 410-01-005 And addendum item number one, discussion decision to call for and conduct an executive session under authority of ARS 38 431.03 subsection A 3, 4, and 7 to consider its position, instruct its representatives, and obtain legal advice regarding the possible entering into a purchase agreement for real property and the potential terms thereof. May I have a motion to enter into executive session for these items?
I make a motion, we adjourn to executive session.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Ms. Morales to enter into executive session per item 10A and addendum item 1. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro.
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. We enter into executive session at 7:05. I'd like to call this meeting back to order. May I have a motion to adjourn the executive session? Ms. Morales? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morales, second by Mr. Costa to adjourn the executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it. We go back to regular session at 8:15 PM. Item number 11. Update direction regarding the future of the airport property with parcel number 410-01-005. We'd like to announce that we're directing staff to enter into negotiations with Mr. Whitman for the purchase of the property around the airport proper. Not the airport itself, but the property surrounding the airport proper. And enter into those negotiations to bring back to the council for a final decision. Item number 12, city manager report. Mr. Kiko.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the council, Mr. Halford beat me to the announcement for Food Truck Friday on September 16th. Exciting night planned. We also will have National Night Out sponsored by our Douglas Police Department that evening at the same event. So I encourage all of your participation, and I think I understand because it's 16th of September, we'll have mariachi as well. I wanted to also really offer sincere condolences to the Duarte family on behalf of the city staff during such a difficult time. You know, that's something that impacts us very deeply, and I do want to share that on behalf of our employees. I want to also let the public know that we have a Mexican baseball fiesta or game planned for early October. More information to follow here very soon. We are working on an October 5th game at the Copper King Stadium, where we will be hosting Navajoa versus against Obregon versus Obregon as part of that one game event for this year. And so we we'll get that on the website very soon and more information to follow. Just wanted to kind of put that out there to the public so that they can save the date for October 5th. Thank you. That's all, Mayor.
Thank you. Item number 13, informational items and reports from council on future agenda item requests. Mr. Grijalva.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to update our constituents, we went to the League of Cities and Towns. We made great connections there, great networking, took some sessions. The few that I went to were on grants and also on the homeless problems. She said she wasn't going to mention it, but I wanted to thank Councilmember Morales. She represented Douglas well on the panel that Luis Ramirez was talking about. So she didn't want to mention it, so I'll mention it for her. She was a great ambassador for the city in that meeting. I want to thank APS. They hung out with us for a little bit. And their commitment to Douglas is still there. We're working with them for the new port of entry for the resources, and they want to come down and see our community again. And also wanted to update my constituents. I'm going to have a town hall next Wednesday from 5 to 6 at the Coronado Courts for 1 hour. I mean, everybody's invited. Like, I don't know if staff wants me to say, but I usually like to have catering, some catering there. So you can come for the food and you can stay for the politics and the updates. I'm getting paid from them. But yeah, everybody's invited and thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Lindeman.
I just wanted to mention that I also attended the League of Cities and Towns. The breakout sessions that I attended were concerns on the Arizona water supply, tools for economic development in small cities, ranked choice voting, and others, each providing valuable information and insights, and it was well attended. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lindeman. Anyone else?
Mayor,
Yes, Mrs. Costa.
I just wanted to also promote the National Night Out and Food Truck Fridays this Friday. I just I know it's kind of a short notice, but I'm gonna have a little contest with whoever wants to enter and race me to the top of the rock climbing wall. And we'll have a few prizes for the top 3 that make it up before me. So it'll probably be the very first 3 that go. And just as a request on future item, I know there's a lot of discussion going around and maybe even some information going around about the downtown streetscape. So I'd just like to request that may be brought up at a future meeting so we can address it and let the public know where we're at and what the process has been and what the plans are.
Thank you. That'll be part of a special meeting that we're planning right now.
Great.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, please, Mr. Valdenego.
I'd like to mention that La Prensa, they're hosting a business after dark tomorrow. It's a new business here in Douglas. They have African cuisine and they want the public to attend their, if possible, from 6 to 8. It's on G Avenue on 5th Street, 6th Street. 6th. It used to be the old pizza run. So they say they have the coldest beer in town, so Mr. Shelton, you're welcome.
Thank you. Item number 14, adjournment. May I have a motion?
Yeah.
Yes, Ms. Morales. Is
Adjourn.
there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Morales, second by Mr. Shelton to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it.